E36. I bought this one used from a forum member. This is a carbon fiber little duckbill along with the carbon fiber wing that is painted white currently. The wing's not in too bad of a shape. It has a little bit on the carbon fiber, as you can see here. See if I can get the camera to show it. But it's got some rough patches on the carbon fiber where the sun has taken some toll on the carbon fiber on the top. On the bottom, you can see it's fairly perfect. Not too much needs to be done on that. Maybe just a re-clear coat on that one. Same with this. On the white portion of the wing, we will be prepping it and painting it red to match the E36. This also isn't very bad on the as far as cosmetics. The paint's pretty good, so we'll just be hitting it lightly with some sandpaper and prepping it for paint. The things you'll need for this project has some automotive primer, 2-in-1, duplicolor. I always find primer works best. I haven't found one that works better than others. Also going to be using Bully Dog adhesion promoter. That'll help bond the paint to the carbon fiber. And then for paint, I'm using 2K Pro XL. These are little rattle cans of we get made here in town for the color of the car. And it's base clear, all in one. Makes it easy to spray. All you have to do is once you're done, you wet sand, clear, and you use this 2K clear. This is also a rattle can. Little punch at the bottom breaks all your hardener inside, so it makes it nice for small little items like this. I painted the body kit on mine, but that's a little bit different. I tackled a little bit bigger project. We'll also need respirator mask and sandpaper. For this one, we won't be using very thick sandpaper. We'll be using 400 on the high spots and working our way all the way to 1500 for primer, and then 2000 once we paint. So let's get started working on the wing. Time to mark out and find the worst spots on the wing. Underneath here is the main harsh spot. This is actually where this wing fits and sits in this wing here. This wing is adjustable here, and when you do so, it tends to rub in these areas. So these areas are the ones we'll address first because they need the most attention. Not very much, some small paint flaking. You won't see much of this as this is under the wing and everything gets covered up with the carbon fiber, but I want it to all be smooth for a good painted surface. So let's go ahead and sand this down. Going to use the 400 at first to knock these areas down, and we'll come right back to you. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm using 400 to go over the entire wing. This will knock down any of the high spots, any orange peel that was left over from the old wing, and this will give us a good base to put primer down. Now that that's all sanded down with 400, what you're looking for with a wing like this that doesn't have a lot of damage on it is just to get the shine off of the paint that's there and give the primer and the new paint something to bite to. Since this already had a good base on it, that's all we had to do for this wing. But for other wings, if you have more pitted, more areas of high and low spots, as you can see in this one, I had some high-low spots back here. on the carbon fiber, and here were the wing mounts. That took a little bit more of the 400 grit, but you can drop down to 120, knock those areas down, and then hit them again with 400 and bring the scratches out of that. Looking for on a wing like this that doesn't need much is just to dull the finish and give something for the new paint to bite to. Once you're done sanding, you're going to wipe it down with a degreaser. I'm using just an acetone and a clean rag just to wipe off the dust and get the wing ready to prime. Try to get all the little dust particles out of there. You can also use an air hose and blow it off and get it all wiped down. But I usually use the degreaser, gets all the fingerprints off, everything, so you have a nice clean base to prime on. After this, we'll get ready and set up for some priming. The freeway, and I do most of my painting, since these are all DIYs, I do most of my painting outside. This one is actually hanging from my outdoor patio, but this is where I do most of my painting. It's out, it's away from the car, and gives me enough airflow for it to dry. So let's get started painting the wing with some primer. Always wear your mask. Okay, now that we got that first coat on, we'll let that dry. We'll go in and we'll work on the carbon fiber flipper. So while the main wing dries outside, which takes roughly about 15 minutes, we'll take a look at that, see if there's any areas that we need to address, because you'll be able to see them when the primer is laid down. You can see any imperfections or scratch marks or anything that has come about that you couldn't see while sanding. We'll address that then. I know I saw a couple little marks on the underside of the wing where this bolts that I want to sand down a little bit more before the next coat of primer. But while that dries, we'll address the carbon fiber portion of the wing. Since carbon fiber is a little bit different and it's got a resin coat, I'm looking. I think this has a clear coat on it as well. But as you can see, there's two different colors here. Yellow and then clear. That's just the sun taking its toll on the UV. So what I plan to do on this is sand it down, the entire thing, work it all the way down to 2000 grit, and then hit it with a clear coat, this clear coat here, and do it at the same time that I did the wing, and do it all at once the wing's painted. But we'll get this prepped and ready to go for there. The one thing you don't want to do on this is burn through the carbon fiber and get too far down. Then you really have a problem. I'm done sanding the top of the wing with 120 grit. 400 grit. It went down a lot better than I thought it was going to. There were some little imperfections on the top of the wing that sanded out a lot better than I anticipated. I thought it was going to take a little bit more work than that. But this wing, as I was going along, feeling along, this thing is just smooth now. So this is almost ready. Did not need a lot of work. I still see some discoloration in the wing. I'm going to test a little area over here after we get done sanding to see if I have to take it down a little bit further. I don't want that to, when we spray clear on this, I don't want there to be two different colors. Make sure I get all that discoloration out of the resin or the clear that's on here. But as for the back side, that's fairly good. Gonna hit it with some 1500 just to scratch it up and knock it down so that the new clear coat has something to stick to. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so started sanding the back side of the wing with 1500. I went inside and I mixed up a quick little bottle of water and dish soap. That'll allow, when we start using the 1500, which is a wet dry sandpaper, able to sand the wing and get a better grit bite to the sandpaper. And this will also let me see that, as I suspected, you see the two different colors here. Not sure how well it's showing up on camera, but you can see the dark color here and then the carbon fiber clear color over there. So that means this is still going to need to be sanded down some more so that we can get that color fully as one, so that we can have a good looking wing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to spray a little bit amount of that soapy water, and I'm going to start sanding the wing. What this does is it allows the wet sandpaper to grip and pull off material a lot easier than it is if it was dry. This will also take out, the 1500 will take out your 400 grit sand scratches, and that will get you a better finish overall on the wing, and it'll make it, when you spray it, come out like glass. Anybody will tell you the same thing, that for painting, prep is 99% of the painting process. That if you spend 90% of your time prepping, your paint will come out amazing. Spraying the paint is literally almost the easiest part of the entire process. It's all about the prep. If your prep isn't good, your paint won't come out good. So if you have imperfections, you have little pieces of dust, You know, you have scratch marks. All that shows in final paint. So let's see if we can get that color out of there. Looks like we're going to have to go a little bit deeper with our sanding. So let me finish sanding the back side with 1500, since this side is flawless. Had no imperfections on the back side. You know, the weave, you can feel the weave as you sand through the sandpaper. That's just carbon fiber. You can put a lot of layers of clear on to kind of take that weave away, but carbon fiber always will soak up the paint. So you can make it go away, but some people like to see that. Some people, if you look at my hood's a fully carbon fiber hood, but it's been painted. If you look at it in the right light, you can actually see the weave coming through the paint, which is, to me, I'm okay with it. I like it. You know, just goes to show that, you know, there's carbon fiber under it and not just a painted fiberglass hood. So now that we got this back portion sanded pretty smooth, we'll wipe it down real quick and take a look at it. Of course, it'll have a haze to it, but that's because of your sanding. Once we hit it with 2000, that is pretty much what it's going to look like when it comes out. You know, other than having like a high shine on it. But that looks pretty good to me. I don't see any major imperfections or anything in it. As for the front or top side of the wing, it appears that we are going to have to get down a little bit further to get that color out of there so we can get one color on this wing. After another round of 400 grit sanding, I've gotten the color pretty much evened out. It all looks even throughout, which is nice. As you can see, it's got a dull finish to it, which we will work down all the way to a 1500 to get all those 400 scratches out. And we'll work our way down with wet sandpaper all the way down to 1500 and get it to match the back here so that we can get it ready for clear coat. Now that we've gotten this sanded down to the same consistency and texture as the rear of the wing, and we are ready for clear coat on this wing. Let's set this off to the side. Let's go check on the wing outside and see how it's coming along. It should be dry by now. We can bring it back in, take a look at it, see what we got to sand. Take a look at the wing and see how it came out for our first coat of primer. Everything looks good. I don't see any major imperfections or anything on this. Under here, you can see these holes are where the carbon fiber wing bolt, and they're, you know, adjustable there. Still got a little area here and here I'm not wild about. Even though it's going to be covered with the wing, I still like them to be flat areas. So we'll grab the 400 again, real quick. Hit it with some water and soap mix here. And try to knock this down a little bit. Ready to go back for more primer. As I'm going along, I'm feeling, using my hands and fingertips to kind of feel for the imperfections. The primer makes it easier to see, but I've always found that if you feel with your fingers, you can feel any bumps or irregularities in the finish. Just by rubbing your fingertips over there, you can kind of feel out if there's anything. And we'll take a look at the whole top side real quick. If I don't feel anything else, then we can re-hang it and re-primer it. I like to get 3 good coats on of primer, which allows me to fully wet sand the wing completely smooth before paint. That I have found gives me the best finish on parts that I paint. But that's almost a personal preference on how many coats you do, and if you wet sand in between your primer and your paint. I do. It just, for me, it gives me the best finish. So this ready to go back. It's the second coat of primers on the wing outside. The carbon fiber wing is sanded and ready for clear. I'm not going to spray that till I can spray the whole wing and that little flipper wing all at the same time. Once you pop that can of clear, you only have a certain amount of time excuse me, before that clear pops off and is done for it. So it's also gotten a little colder than I'd like to actually spray paint tonight. So I'm going to let that wing dry overnight, spray one more coat of primer in the morning, and we'll be ready to paint midday tomorrow. You know, we got cars and coffee in the morning, a few other things, but we'll get the wing finished, and it'll be the last part of this video.